Hey everybody, how are you? It's Peter again for MLB Trade Rumors and Discussions. It is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. Keeping this going every single day for the rest of the year, just like I promised you guys. Today, I wanted to talk about something really that bothered me for a very long time, and it's just getting worse every single time. And that's young pitchers who need Tommy John surgery. Okay? It just seems like to me, every time there's a up and coming young pitcher who is dominant or who throws hard, it's just a matter of time. It's inevitable before they are about to go on the DL, and then right after that, Tommy John surgery is usually around the corner or something big is going to happen. And a lot of people used to say, "Oh, it's the curveball," and it's not, right? It definitely is a fastball is a huge part of this. Yes, curveballs can affect you drastically, but that's more when you're younger. Trevor Hoffman said that a long time ago. You don't need a curveball at a young age. All you need is a fastball changeup, right? Curveballs for sure. That could definitely take a toll on your arm. I've seen kids throwing split fingers at a young age. It's like, what are you doing? Where's the coach teaching you that? But the reason I'm bringing this up, Chris Sale, who is one of my favorite pitchers to watch, right, is clearly looks like he's about to get Tommy John surgery. Not sure if it's going to happen, but he definitely doesn't look good. Last year, you clearly seen what happened, right? The difference between 2 years ago when he won the championship to last year was just completely different. And I feel for the guy because he's a competitor. He throws hard, challenges you. But what can pitchers do? Okay, what can pitchers do to change this? Because it's just frustrating every time you see a guy come up and something happens like this. The main thing is these young guys need to learn to throw changeups a lot more. Changeups for strikes, different things, because it can't be, oh, you're always at 115 pitches and that's why. Why were these guys pitching back then a long time ago at 120, 130 pitches and there was no problem? Clearly, either the throwing motion of some of these guys and they're just not, or they're just either they're all arm, no legs, and they're putting a lot of pressure on their arm. It's the arm angle. It's throwing too much fastballs. Why did Mariano Rivera last for a long time? Yeah, I know he was a closer, but Mariano could have kept pitching because of a cut fastball, right? He didn't put so much pressure on his arm every single pitch. He just needed to get over a strike, and he would easily get out of it with a cut fastball, just for the fact that if you can learn to get cut fastballs and changeups for strikes without having to put too much pressure and feeling you got to throw 98 to 99. Baseball players are too great they're fouling off pitches. So when you're at 90 something pitches and throwing 90 something miles an hour in the fifth inning, what do you think that's going to do to you? You cannot, it doesn't work that way. And something needs to happen. Coaches, somebody needs to change this game. I know Ron Darling is a huge thing, and he talks about that, and he was such a wonderful pitcher. It's a shame with these kids. For example, Luke Weaver's pitching tonight for the Diamondbacks, and I'm very interested to see how he pitches, right? However, I am always going to be terrified every time he throws a pitch because it looks like whether it's his forearm or shoulder, something's about to go. And it just sucks. It really does because there's some great pitchers out there, and Greg Maddux is a perfect example. That man did not throw 99 miles an hour. Greg Maddux was amazing. Tom Glavine was amazing. And they get it done with cut fastballs, sinkers, changeups. That's how you're going to win. That's how you're going to last in this game. Why I love Zach Gallen, because Zach Gallen looks like one of those guys. He just reminds me of an old school pitcher. You're not going to go too long in this game throwing 99 miles an hour all the time and not getting another third pitcher, not throwing changeups over. It's not going to work. And if it does, great for some pitchers, but the majority, that's why you see the Tommy John surgeries going up more and more. It's a damn shame. It really is, because you can't get excited about a young pitcher anymore. How many times can you say a young stud pitcher is pitching for a very long time and he's there and he's consistent? There's not many of those guys anymore. There really isn't. There's a handful of guys that you're just like, wow. That's why I tip my hat to a guy like Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander is freaking phenomenal. He's a different beast. He's still hitting 97, 98 miles an hour sometimes. He's older, and there was a lot of pressure on that arm. Verlander's an old school guy, he's one of those rare commodities that, you have to just go, wow. Garrett Cole to me is another one, right? But just there's not many guys that are like that. So when you're a young kid at 19, 20 years old and you feel you have to throw 100 miles an hour, it doesn't work. So many times, that's why for a year or two, and a lot of the Dominican guys who are really good, dominant, right? Come up and they're just dominant, and then a couple years later they go from 98 to 91. And you're like, what the hell happened to this guy's fastball? You get tired, man. You got to be able to pitch. This is not called throwing, it's pitching. When you know how to pitch, there's a big difference between pitching and throwing. You got to be smart. And I'm just saying this because it's a shame. Look at Madison Bumgarner. Madison Bumgarner knows how to pitch. Okay? He's not throwing 101, 102 miles an hour like Chapman. He'll get you 95, 96. But most of the time he'll sit at 91, 92. But his control is going to get you. All right? Then he'll throw a slider in there. And then he'll throw a little cut fastball in there. It's different. But, you're not going to win. Look at Kershaw. Kershaw can hit you in the high 90s before, but he's also going to be smart. He's going to get you with the curve. He's going to nibble. He's going to throw a changeup for a strike. He's going to save his arm for some things. How many times do you see Kershaw complete the game? Felix Hernandez. This reminds me of a guy who was really great for a matter of about 7 or 8 years. Was freaking fantastic. And his arm is just blown out. The fact that he hasn't had surgery all over the place is crazy. But he was another guy. But it just goes to show you, a lot of strain goes on this arm. But Felix is a little bit different. He had his year. He's kind of stood. But again, I'm just mentioning, guys who've made it. But if you want to make it for the most part, and you don't have to worry, like look at the Yankees. I'm not a Yankee fan, but I feel for a guy like Severino, right? The guy had all the potential in the world, and then it just goes away like that. And who knows if you're ever going to get back to the same? We can go down the line. Guys like John Lester. He don't have to throw 100 miles an hour. John Lester knew how to pitch. That's why he was successful for a very long time, right? Cole Hamels, he knows how to pitch. Yeah, you're going to be in the 90s, but they know how to pitch. You're not going to get it with, I'll give you a perfect example. Back in the day, we had this guy on the Diamondbacks called Omar Dahl, right? This guy was just all these different types of pitchers, or Armando Reynoso, I don't know if you guys remember that. They would nibble and pitch, and that's not going to win you all the time games. It'll get you there, right? I'm not saying you have to come in here and throw 99 miles an hour, or you have to throw 85 miles an hour and win. You just got to know when the fastball is good, when you can sit there and throw 95, and then when you just need to get the fastball over at 80 something, or when you need to get a slow curve over at 86, 87 miles an hour, right? Chris Archer is a perfect example of a guy who does not look like the same. He was throwing 98, 99 miles an hour before. He is not doing that as much. And even when he does, he gets hit, and then, because another thing, he'll get fouled off. Chris Archer is a perfect example of a guy who you don't want to be like that, and you also don't want to be like a guy who is just sitting there throwing 80-something miles an hour. You got to be able to know when to do it. That's just me just going over it because I'm thinking of Luke Weaver pitching today, and I was just thinking of Chris Sale. I felt it. I felt him. I know my son's a big Red Sox fan, but God, how quickly a couple years ago it was, and he just looked like, for the love of God, he was getting 12, 13 strikeouts a game. Reminded me of Randy Johnson back in the day. And then look what happened. Who knows if he's ever going to get there. For me, I don't even think so. I don't think he's ever going to get back to that. And it's a shame. It really is. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, or let me know what you think that can help the surgery, because it's a damn shame. It really is. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Good luck with the Diamondbacks, guys. Let's see what happens tonight.